Thank you. Alongside Cheryl Pounder, Frankie Corrado, and Darren Dreger with you for the next half hour or so. We'll be gathering all sorts of post-game reaction from both dressing rooms in a wild game for 40 minutes. The 2025 Oilers look like the 80s Oilers combined with the Harlem Globetrotters. And since suddenly it completely falls apart as they give up a 5 spot in the third. And, you know, you don't read too much into game ones, but isn't that a bit of an extra painful loss for a game one?
Yeah, this is a big-time meltdown for the Edmonton Oilers in the third period, and they had this game. And this was a game where the Dallas Stars were a step behind. The Edmonton Oilers were just a little too fast, and it felt like it was going to be the night where McDavid and Draisaitl, they were dominant, and the Dallas Stars weren't going to have an answer. Well, the Dallas Stars found a way to get this game to a pace that was more comfortable to them because of the Edmonton Oilers and the penalties that they took, and that led to the Dallas Stars finding a way to break through on the power play in the third period and leaving the Edmonton Oilers looking for some answers as far as how that game got away from them.
No question about that. Now, look, you look at both the Oilers and the Stars, and both teams' rosters have experienced players on that. So really that shouldn't be a factor. But you also have to wonder what was said between the second and third period, because there were several isolation shots of Pete DeBoer, the head coach of the Stars, on that bench, not happy as that game clearly was unfolding before his very eyes in the first 2 minutes of play. Now, again, they've got experience on the Dallas side. Maybe they just leaned in and said, hey, the Oilers are starting to take penalties. Let's go into this third period and turn it around.
I was going to say that. Certainly they came out flying, but they were aided. So it's 3 straight Oilers penalties, 3 straight power play goals. What happened?
Well, first of all, when the Oilers have the game in hand, you know, they want to stay 5-on-5, and you do not want to go on the PK against the Dallas Stars, who are 30.8% coming into this game, coming into it because 3 consecutive power plays, but it's the stick infractions. I mean, when you are a step behind, guess what? You start to use your stick, and that's exactly what happens. Kulak is going to get the hooking penalty. Now, all of a sudden, you've given them a little bit of life. It's Heiskanen, who is back, played over 24 minutes as the QB on that power play, just throws that to the net. You can see a double stack stream, gets by Skinner. Again, another penalty. It's going to be a high sticking on Perry. This weak side flank was exposed all third period. And you can see that original shot from Granlund. And then again, another one. You take that stick penalty, and now you're going to take that weak side shot. Again, Rantanen lets it go. Duchesne's on the doorstep. Skinner's like saying, was there any interference there? But there certainly wasn't. And you look at those 3 goals in just over 3.5 minutes, or just shy of 3.5 minutes. I mean, that just told the story right there.
The other thing that you do when you take those penalties, it opens the door for some of the skilled players who maybe haven't provided as much as you would have liked if you're the Dallas Stars to this point to find a way to factor in. And Matt Duchesne's one of those guys. Tyler Seguin finds a goal. Mikael Granlund gets another goal. And that's a big deal for the Dallas Stars, because if you were going to ask someone, you know, how do the Dallas Stars compete with the Edmonton Oilers with the superstar power that they have? Well, it's going to have to be scoring by committee, because there's a lot of talent up and down that roster. So Seguin gets his 4th. Matt Duchesne gets his 1st goal the entire playoffs. That's huge. He had a really nice regular season, and of course Granlund factors in as well. So Tyler Seguin gets the 2 on the night, and the Dallas Stars show that, you know, that skill sprinkled up and down their lineup, when it factors in, like, that can be a big-time difference for them in winning and losing games.
Well, it's been a big question mark, right? Because you've seen the depth do the scoring for the Edmonton Oilers over the course of the 2 rounds, right? You've seen all of their forwards get a goal, all 13 of them, I might add. And so you wonder if this is a little bit of a shift right now, but certainly, you know, paid the price.
And shades of that LA series early, especially for Edmonton when the PK was killing them. Again, lots of reaction ahead. We'll start with the Oilers goaltender, Stuart Skinner.
Yeah, obviously we let down our guard for 5-6 minutes, got in some penalty trouble. They were coming out hot. Momentum kind of shifted for them in that moment, and obviously bit us. So yeah, it's something for us to learn from, myself included, obviously, and get better from there.
How much tougher is that to swallow that 6-minute stretch, especially with the way you guys were playing at 5-on-5 in the opening quarter?
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow for sure. I mean, you just can't be doing that, especially playoff time, especially against a team like this. They know how to score goals, obviously. Mature team, so I know that we have that in us as well, and we've done it many, many times. So just you know, let it slip for a little bit, and we'll get back at it for sure.
They had lots of bodies in and around you on those power play goals. Is that, I mean, as a goalie, is that just stuff you gotta fight through, or I imagine that's not easy.
Yeah, it's always something that you got to fight through. It's, I mean, it's just competitiveness. You know, obviously they're competing to get goals, get guys around the net, make my life a lot harder, and I just got to fight through that. I got to battle them as much as battling for sight of the puck, and you know, that's what makes the game tough. It's hard. It's not supposed to be easy, so an opportunity for me to get better at that, get better at traffic play, get better at that competitiveness, and work my way through it.
You guys were so good on the penalty kill last year. I guess what are you seeing this year that's just not working out the same way?
Yeah, it's really hard for me to say. You know, goals have been going in a little bit differently in different ways. Again, it's a different series, so they show us different things, right? I think tonight a little bit of the east to west stuff kind of got us into trouble. I know that first, the goal from the point, I should have looked on the right side a little bit quicker. So obviously I didn't, and then that's, you know, it's a goal, and then it's, you know, momentum's on their side. So just little things like that. But I think as a PK, you know, it's been a little bit up and down right now. You know, it was bad at the start of the first round and then got better. It was great all series against Vegas, and, you know, a struggle for one game. But, I mean, again, it's one game, right? So we can get back on the horse, you know, for next game for sure.
Momentum in the playoffs somehow is so much bigger than momentum in January. Like when that ball started rolling downhill tonight, it looked pretty tough to stop for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's the game. It feels harder in the playoffs, but it's actually not different at all. You know, in games there's always momentum shifts. I think that in playoffs it just feels a lot heavier because it's a heavier moment.
He's always good in those post games.
Excellent.
Very
Excellent.
candid and takes responsibility, owned that Heiskanen goal to make it 3-2. But, you know, you heard Ryan in there asking about traffic. The go-ahead goal, he obviously, as Cheryl mentioned, seemed like he thought he was interfered with. It didn't look like it. But it felt, if there was a goal he'll want back, I don't know if he quit on the play or he just, he seemed to lose focus.
It was a weird scramble, right? And I think that's what he's alluding to when he talks about the traffic in front. You're right. And some of the things that he has to do and they have to do as a penalty kill unit to calm things down. I mean, there were tons of bodies in front of Stu Skinner on this play, and it's, you know, it's coincidental, of course, that Duchesne draws the penalty. But you can see he's reaching. You've got Rupe Hintz, who's down. The puck goes off him, then bounces right back to Matt Duchesne. But as soon as this puck is determined to cross the line, Skinner, who's down on his knees, turns around. He's looking for help from the goaltender, and he's waving his arms a little bit to indicate that he felt that there was some level of interference. He didn't say that, but I think what he's referring to, if that's what he meant, was his own player bumping into him and not a Dallas Star.
If he watches that back, he'll see that, like, there was really no reason to wave out for a referee. It's your own guy in the way. But I do like the way he owned it. The other thing, from the Dallas Stars' point of view, you would do the pre-scout on the goaltender that you're going up against, and you would know that Stuart Skinner has had his struggles. Yes, he's played better recently. So what are you going to do, given the opportunity? Like, make life as difficult as humanly possible for him. And opening the door by giving them those power plays allows you to plant someone in front of him as much as humanly possible, and that's what the Dallas Stars did, and they made life difficult for him.
Bingo, Frankie. I mean, he was coming in on back-to-back shutouts, right? 47 saves over the last 2 games. But also, you got to give credit to the Dallas Stars to get there, right, on the power play. Once that happens, once you get net front, all of a sudden now that coverage kind of collapses, and that opened up that weak side flank for those initial shots. Now it's about fighting for that second puck and fighting to track it.
A huge wasted effort by the Oilers for Connor McDavid and this guy, maybe the best player on the ice, certainly for the first 40 minutes, Leon Draisaitl.
What did you see happen there in the third period? You guys looked like you were in complete control of the game and kind of just slipped away.
Yeah, just penalties. Obviously couldn't come up with a kill, and then game got away from us a little bit through the kill, and obviously then, you know, a power play when you have a chance to tie it up wasn't much better. So, yeah, just look at it, correct it.
How are you seeing this? Special teams on the road are really struggling this playoff season. How can you put your finger on why, like on both sides of the puck?
No, I can't. But we got to obviously figure that out.
You guys, it seemed at even strength through the first 40 minutes or so. You have pretty good formula going on. And maybe just what happened in the third there, where you couldn't get back to that necessarily.
Well, I mean, we give up 3 goals on in a row on the kill, it just kills the momentum, and then you're chasing the game. The game changes from there. So we got to be an awful lot more mature than that.
Is it just a matter, do you think, of taking too many penalties if the kill's having a little trouble?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like we got to stay out of the box, but you know, there's going to be penalties. We got to come up with a kill. I'm not on it, so who am I to say anything? But that's just common sense. That's a fact. And then, you know, once you have a chance to tie the game up on the power play, then it's our turn to be much better than that.
Can you build on those first two?
And now Darnell Nurse.
You know, we got to kill better. You know, it's as simple as that. They have a good penalty kill, but or they have a good power play. But when we're playing the way we can, and we've shown it over the playoffs, our penalty kill could be very good too. So we got to be better in that department, and all of us to a man.
So as Stu said, like the power play goals happen in very different ways. Is there kind of a takeaway that you guys can have off of that in terms of trying to get better?
Yeah, I mean, you know, whether it's a one battle, a clear, a block, whatever play's got to be made on the PK, you got to make it, and we didn't do that enough tonight.
With traffic in front, like with the PK, is it about always clearing bodies out, or sometimes you just create more traffic if you engage too much? Like, what's the balance there? Because they seem to have some bodies in there on most of those goals.
Yeah, they had good traffic. I don't know. We'll have to watch it back, but there's you're down, man. So you got to, you know, read and react and see what's going on in front of you as well. So yeah, for us, if we're not gonna give Stu the sight line, then we got to block the shot.
Did it feel like there was a formula in this game, 5-on-5, that you kind of found and was working for you for a big part of it?
Our 5-on-5 game I thought was really good, and for us we got to use it more. You know, we can't be. We know they have a good power play. For us, I think in the last couple of series too, when we buckled down and stayed out of the box and kept the game at 5-on-5, we played the strength of our team. We probably took a couple more than we have in the last few games. But with that said, when the PK gets out there, we got to step up and make plays.
Yeah, you know, sometimes we do these post games and there's intricate little details, and sometimes you don't need a panel. It's pretty obvious. They were great 5-on-5. They were terrible on the PK, and you heard all of them say it. Stuart Skinner said it, Draisaitl said it, and Nurse said it's as simple as that. We have to be better in that department.
Yeah, but at least you could look at, okay, we were really good at 5-on-5, and we know that if we cannot take the stick penalties and if we can continue to play this series at 5-on-5, we're going to have a really good chance. Listen, you don't lose a series in the first game. That's the reality. You're going to have an opportunity here, knowing that your best players can lead the way, your depth players have continued to score, and defensively, like, you can do the job at 5-on-5. Eliminating stick penalties and taking undisciplined penalties, that's like the easiest thing you can clean up.
Agreed, but I think that both teams learn from that too, right? They're all stick-related penalties. Marchman takes their tripping penalty in the second period, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins scores for the Oilers on the power play. So I'm sure that Dallas is looking at what Edmonton got into in terms of those stick-related penalties and gone, okay, we can't put them on the power play either, because obviously this time of year, special teams win. Well, and you notice with both teams, they're fast, right? So all of a sudden you're fast, you're assertive, you're getting to the puck and trying to recover it quick, and sometimes you reach, right? You get that stick out. So you got to, it's a nice reminder, you got to keep them moving. But at the same time, when you look at this group and you look at it in totality, what I'm looking at right now is the accountability right there. I absolutely love that, you know, someone like Darnell Nurse is saying, yeah, you just got to do what it takes, whether it's a block shot, whether it's a clear. So they know what's going on, and the PK was great last year, right? So they can find a way to right the ship. It was good last series. It wasn't good against LA, but didn't do the job tonight.
We're about to hear from Chris Knoblauch. He'll probably talk about the PK needing to be better.
Chris, can you just address the penalties that you guys took, kind of what you thought about them, and then what you saw on the penalty kill there, and why you were getting beat the way you were?
I didn't look at the penalties, obviously on the bench, so I can't really comment exactly if they were good or bad, whatever. As for the penalty kill, you know, going into the series, knew that special teams was going to be a big part of it. Tonight, with them getting 3 in the third period, obviously that changes the things. And even after they got the first one, you could just see our guys were, you know, felt really good before, and then after it was just we took a step back, and we got to keep pushing, just maintain that offensive zone time that we had earlier in the game, and still being assertive.
Left side front row, Daniel.
Chris, you guys seem like you were pretty dominant for the first 40 minutes, and then after those penalties and the goals and stuff, why weren't you able to kind of get it back on the rails? Why couldn't you?
Yeah, no, the momentum obviously switched after that first, and I think first half of that penalty at the end of the second period, I thought we did a pretty good job killing it, and then, you know, they get that one shot through that ends up being a goal, and then, you know, that obviously changes the momentum. They feel better about their game. They only see it, they're only chasing by one, and then again another penalty, which just we can't kill.
Staying that same road, Derek.
On the other side of that, you did get the power play goal today, but can you put your finger on the struggles on the road, particularly with the power play? How are you seeing it, and why isn't it as effective as it usually is?
It's such a short sample just to say that power play on the road isn't very good. We've only had, you know, 16 opportunities, and, you know, even if we put in one or two more, you know, I don't know if we hit any goal posts or empty nets that we miss. If they just go in, it's probably what it should be. But they don't go in now, it looks terrible. So I think it's just such a short sample size. And do I think our power play is that good at home where we're, I don't know, 50% or whatever it is? No, it's just we've been very fortunate there. So I think over the course of a few more games, it'll work itself out.
Left side, second row, Ryan.
Chris, going back to what you were saying about finding momentum. Over here. No, all good. Going back to what you're saying about momentum, I mean, we've seen you come back several times in this postseason. What do you think it was about tonight where maybe you couldn't find that opening in ways you found it against LA and Vegas earlier?
Well, you know, we were shorthanded for about 6 minutes of the third period. That makes it a little more difficult to come back. Yeah, I don't know. I just think we took a step back. Obviously, they had the momentum, the energy from the crowd. You know, obviously, we're very disappointed with, after the first two periods, we felt it was a good start, and then it just turned in the third period. So we're going to have to put this one behind us and move on. We've had some heartbreaking losses in the playoffs, and we've been able to rebound nicely and not worry too much about it.
Left side standing, Mark.
Chris, your team's played so well. You won 8 out of 9. You've weathered all these storms. Just when you think maybe you got it figured out, this happens tonight, and all of a sudden, you know, you lose a lead and you lose your composure maybe a little bit. Is this a lesson on playoff hockey that you kind of never quite have the complete formula figured out?
No, yeah, you always think you figured it out, and then you get humbled in a hurry. Did we think we were going to come in here and win 4 in a row against this team? Absolutely not. We knew it was going to be a hard, long series. And, you know, some things, you know, for us to have a 3-1 lead, things were going our way. And in the third period, things didn't go our way. So we just got to put that one behind us. And whether we lost 6-3, 1-0, or in overtime, it all means the same. We'll just have to recover and have a good start to the next game.
Anything else for Chris? Thanks a lot, Chris.
The biggest positive, and he talked about it, is they're comfortable in these situations because they constantly seem to find themselves in these situations. Last year against Dallas, they were down 2-1 in the series after winning Game 1. The Stanley Cup Final, downing 3-0 and forcing a Game 7. Down to the Canucks earlier on in the playoffs. Down to LA, 2-0 to start these playoffs. So if anybody is used to it, it's definitely the Edmonton Oilers. But, man, they did blow a heck of a performance by maybe the 2 best players in the world, because usually halfway through the playoffs, Draisaitl's always awesome, but usually he's laboring with something by now. He was flying.
He was flying. His crossover speed coming out of the, you know, the neutral zone, even in his own zone. We were staring at each other, you know, in the first 20 minutes going, man, he is on fire. He was a beast out there. Whether he was fighting for a puck, whether he was shielding, whether he was walking off the wall, this was a guy that was really finding a way to move. And when you look at his overall body of work, it isn't just about him putting a puck in the net, but it's creating space, and that's exactly what he does, whether it's a power move towards the net or whether it's finding other players. I mean, you look at the cross and drops and the little switches that happen, but you have to be able to gain the dot, and that awareness was incredible off of him. And he was almost like a man on a mission saying, I'm going to take it to the net. So you almost felt like it was going to be the heroics of him and McDavid tonight. He did wind up with a goal and 2 helpers. Only had 6 points. I say only 6 points last series, because you would expect that it would have been 12 12 against the Vegas Golden Knights to win that series in 7 or in 5. But he just found the net all game long. He found the pockets. He was assertive, and he was Leon Draisaitl. He was number 29. When you watched him, power. He had the speed, and of course the shot and the shield.
The good thing about what we saw at 5-on-5 for the Edmonton Oilers is there's things that they can control here, and they can control for the rest of the series. And the pace of play, like Draisaitl was fast. Of course, McDavid is always fast, but this is a team that lost a lot of speed last year. You lost McLeod, you lost Fogel, you lost Holloway. How are you going to replace that speed? Well, that team looked really fast tonight. And Draisaitl and, of course, Connor McDavid always leads the charge when it comes to that. And it looked like there was a few flashes for McDavid where he was just not going to be stopped. This is early in the game, right around Essa Lindell, who's a good shutdown defenseman. And then here's Thomas Harley. So you're 2 for 2 as far as getting around 2 of the best defensemen on that team for the Dallas Stars. So the pace was high, and that is something that is not gonna fall for Connor McDavid. It's not gonna fall for these guys. So as time goes on in this series, that's something that is easily recreated. And if we see the Edmonton Oilers continue to play with that speed and that pace, that will continue to cause some problems for the Dallas Stars over the course of this series.
Yeah, with Connor McDavid, it's almost like even Leon Draisaitl tonight, it was speed underneath the puck. Just picking up speed underneath the puck. But everyone on the team, on the ice with them, knows exactly where to bump it to so that they can gain that entry. But what I like about it also, when you talk about speed, not just those guys, but if you look at the rest of their lineup, it was about the puck movement. Right off a puck, making sure that they were moving it so they were collectively moving through the neutral zone with speed. So yeah, a tough one to lose when you played with that type of pace for 40 minutes.
The winning side Stars also contribute big. Sagan on the breakaway and Duchesne with that go-ahead goal late. They're both at the podium.
What shifted for you guys coming out of the second intermission and just in the spot you were in going into the third period? Feels like a big boost going into that third.
Dutchie? No, you know what? I think it's a huge goal coming out. We have a power play for a minute. Our power play, we couldn't really get anything going, and these guys' unit did a hell of a job getting that. And Miro it's a great setup. We were able to break in, set up, and you get some life right there. And at that point, you're like, okay, we're back in this, and away you go, and we're able to make it happen.
Right side front row, Taylor.
Hey, Tyler.
Hi, Taylor.
How did it feel on that first goal, especially that breakaway? Did it feel a little vintage Tyler Sagan?
Felt nice to be a guy up the ice with some speed, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it always feels good to score. It feels even better to win. I think I was thinking about that game last year, game 1 in here, where it was almost like a similar game, and maybe we didn't deserve to win, but tonight we maybe didn't either and found a way. Those are big games at this time of year. Just try to find a way to get a win. There's a great hockey team over there in Edmonton, so we'll take it and run.
Left side, second row, Ryan.
It's a game where, of course, you get a lot of offensive contributions, but you're able to get a comeback. For both of you, what kind of sort of becomes maybe the bigger takeaway, just getting that much offensive contribution or knowing like you're able to come back against a team that this postseason, that's kind of how they've made their trademark?
Yeah, I think, like Tyler said, you score a goal and help your team win, it feels great. But, the wins are the best feeling this time of year, and they're short-lived, and the losses are short-lived. So it's a great comeback win for us. I think, every team we've played so far has a very different makeup to them and a different feel, and there's things that we can do better. And, the nice thing is when you win a game in the playoffs without your A game, it feels like, hey, you want to take it and run with it, and we want to be better next game. And I think, that's a dangerous hockey team over there, and you saw it at times. We were probably a little too passive on it at times, but it's hard not to be when you have, gifted players like that coming at you full speed. And they both played, incredible tonight. And I think, like I said, though, at the end of the day, you take that one, you run, and you try and get greedy and take 2 at home.
Left side.
They needed the contributions from those guys because Mikko Rantanen, who usually gets a hat trick every game, it feels like, in these playoffs. Only 1 second assist on this night, Drakes.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking for, I think, if you're the Edmonton Oilers. So you know that Edmonton's going to make adjustments. Chris Knoblauch, the Oilers, didn't like that third period, primarily because of the lack of discipline. Pete DeBoer and the Dallas Stars didn't like the first 40 minutes of play, but you just saw two difference makers in Tyler Seguin and in Matt Duchene. So you're right. Mikko Rantanen likely is going to be more impactful in Game 2 at home, and I'm still looking for Jason Robertson to find his stride again.
If you missed any of our post-game show, it will all be available on YouTube, and we'll be back after every single game in this series.